They didn't just walk into my life. They rewrote something inside me I didn't even know existed. And when they left, they didn't take anything with them, except the version of me I used to be. You've probably met someone like that. Not the kind who simply stays or leaves, but the kind who alters your emotional DNA without asking for permission. At first, it never feels dangerous. It feels like connection, like understanding, like finally being seen in a world that usually looks past you. They say the right things, they understand your silence, they make you feel chosen. And that's where the story begins to change. Because sometimes the people who change you the most aren't meant to stay. They're meant to reveal something uncomfortable, something buried, something you were never ready to face. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." And that's exactly what this is. This wasn't just about them, it was about what they triggered in you. This is the story of how one person can feel like everything, and somehow become the reason you finally meet yourself. But the truth is, the lesson they leave behind, it rarely comes gently. Part 1. The illusion that felt like destiny. Before the pain, there was magic. Not the loud, obvious kind, but the quiet, dangerous kind that slips into your life unnoticed. It starts with small things, conversations that flow too easily, moments that feel strangely familiar, like you've known them longer than you actually have. You begin to tell yourself a story. This must be meant to happen. This feels different. This person understands me. And maybe they do. But here's the part no one tells you. Sometimes people don't enter your life to complete you. They enter to expose you. Expose your unmet needs, your hidden wounds, your silent longing to be chosen, validated or saved. That connection you felt, it wasn't fake, but it also wasn't what you thought it was. It was a reflection, like looking into a mirror and seeing not just your face, but everything you've been avoiding. Think about it. Why did their attention feel so powerful? Why did their absence feel so unbearable? Because they weren't just a person anymore. They became a source of emotional meaning. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." You made them your why. And when someone becomes your emotional center, you stop seeing them clearly. You start seeing them symbolically, not as who they are, but as what they represent: love, healing, escape, identity. And that's where illusion begins to feel like destiny. Part 2. The attachment that quietly took over. It doesn't happen all at once. There's no warning sign, no moment where everything suddenly shifts. Instead, it builds slowly. You start checking your phone more often, waiting a little longer for their replies, reading between lines that were never meant to carry that much weight. And without realizing it, your emotional state begins to depend on their presence. If they're warm, you feel alive. If they're distant, you feel uneasy. If they pull away, you feel like something inside you is collapsing. That's not love anymore, that's attachment, the kind that rewires your thoughts, your mood, even your sense of self. You begin to adjust, you speak differently, act differently, suppress parts of yourself just to maintain the connection. Not because they asked you to, but because you're afraid of losing what they make you feel. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The stronger your attachment becomes, the less you actually see them. Because now, you're not relating to who they are. You're relating to what they do for you emotionally. Buddha taught, attachment is the root of suffering. And yet, we don't notice it while it's forming. It feels like care, like effort, like love. But deep down, it's fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of going back to who you were before they arrived. So you hold tighter, even when things feel off, even when something inside you whispers, this isn't balanced. Because losing them doesn't just feel like losing a person, it feels like losing a part of yourself. And that's when the connection quietly turns into something else. Something heavier, something harder to escape. Part 3. The pain that forced you to see. And it always happens in a way you didn't expect. Not with closure, not with clarity, but with confusion. Their energy changes. Their presence becomes inconsistent. The same person who once felt certain now feels distant, and your mind starts searching for answers. What did I do wrong? Why are they changing? Was any of it real? But the truth is, this moment was never about finding answers in them. It was about confronting something in you. Because pain has a way of stripping illusions. It removes the story you created, the version of them you believed in, the future you imagined without questioning. And suddenly, you're left alone with reality, raw, uncomfortable, unavoidable. Carl Jung once said, "Where your fear is, there is your task." And that's exactly what this pain is. A task, a confrontation with the parts of yourself you tried to escape through them. Your need for validation, your fear of abandonment, your habit of losing yourself in someone else. This is the moment most people try to run from. They distract themselves, they replace the person, they numb the feeling. But if you stay, if you sit in that discomfort instead of escaping it, something begins to shift. You start seeing patterns, not just in them, but in yourself. You realize this wasn't the first time you felt this way. The same emotional cycle, just a different face. And that realization, it hurts more than the person leaving. Because now, it's no longer about them, it's about you. About what you allowed, what you ignored, what you needed so badly that you overlooked reality. And in that painful clarity, something powerful begins to emerge. Awareness, not the soft, comforting kind, but the kind that changes you, the kind that forces you to grow. Part 4. The lesson that rebuilt you. At some point, the pain stops being sharp. It doesn't disappear, but it changes. It becomes quieter, heavier, more reflective. You're no longer asking, why did they do this? Now you're asking something far more important. Why did this affect me so deeply? And that question, that's where your transformation begins. Because the truth is, they didn't just break your heart, they broke your illusions. The illusion that someone else could complete you. The illusion that love requires you to abandon yourself. The illusion that being chosen by someone else determines your worth. And once those illusions collapse, you're left with something raw but real, yourself. For the first time you begin to see clearly where you overgave, where you ignored red flags, where you stayed silent just to keep the connection alive, not with shame, but with understanding. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." And this was your chaos. This was the emotional storm that forced you to rebuild your inner world from the ground up. Stronger, wiser, more aware. Because now you don't just seek connection, you understand it. You no longer confuse intensity with love. You no longer chase what destabilizes you. You no longer abandon yourself to keep someone else. And maybe the most powerful realization of all, they were never the lesson, you were. They were just the trigger, the mirror, the moment. But the growth, the awareness, the transformation, that came from within you. So if you're still holding on to someone who changed you, if part of you still replays the memories, the questions, the what-ifs, understand this. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people come to reveal you to yourself. And yes, it hurts. But not all pain is destruction. Some pain is direction. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask something more powerful. What is this trying to teach me? Because once you learn the lesson, you don't just move on, you move differently, and that changes everything.